video seems to find you. My name is Kristen Patton. I'm a licensed clinical professional counselor, and I run a private practice in Gurnee, Illinois called LifePoint Child and Family Therapy. I wanted to put a short little blurb out there for folks about fear. Today, I find myself working from home, like many, having my children home, like many. I have 4 of them. There's 3 of them home today. And we have fear, anxiety, panic. Those words I hear frequently. And what are we doing? It's March 23rd, 2020, and COVID-19 is sort of creeping through our communities. Should we be afraid? What do we do with fear? How do we work with panic? I've already had several folks this week say that they're having panic attacks. It's very real, and I wanted to just talk a little bit about that in a candid way. So first of all, let's go back to the basics. Fear. Fear is actually a survival mechanism that is built inside of humans. It starts in our amygdala, which is a very small part of our brain in the center that assesses for danger. And I'm going to hold up this resource that I use with folks. And I'm hoping you can see it. This kind of shows how our parasympathetic system works. In the yellow, that's when our energy is low and we're kind of lethargic. Typically, we want to be in the green or the blue area where we're calm or active alert. When we get into the orange or the red area, this is where our fight, flight, freeze kicks in. So over here is fight, flight, and here is 2 forms of freeze. These are all threats to life. I'd like for us to take a second and look at this chart. So if you look under the blue column, towards the bottom, it talks about emotions you might feel when you're in the active alert state, which are things like anger, shame, disgust, anxiety, and excitement. When you switch over to the fight-flight column, it switches to rage and fear. I think this is one of the big differences when we're talking about a pandemic coming across the country, that when we are functioning out of fear, that might limit our ability to cope. And the anxiety may actually be in what I'll call the sweet spot of tolerance, where it drives us to make a decision and a thought out plan that is productive. But as soon as you switch over into fight-flight mode, you can literally look at all of the things that start to change. Your digestion changes, your ability to think. You may or may not be able to access your frontal cortex, which is the part of your brain that helps you make good decisions. So staying in the sweet spot of anxiety is helpful, but switching to a fear state and functioning out of fear is not usually as helpful. There are very real biological things that start to happen when fear really starts to kick in and we're afraid for our life. I would like to put out there that it is okay to be afraid. That seems like a pretty normal response given an abnormal situation. We want to acknowledge that we're having fear, that we're having anxiety, what we're worried about. Those are okay thoughts and feelings to have. They are actually information that we can take to then make an educated choice. Because I think the problem with fear, well, it becomes problematic if it overwhelms our capacity to cope. So when we have an actual threat, our amygdala does its job and gets us out of danger. One of the unique things about COVID-19 is that it's not right in front of us. I don't know about you, but it's not like a snake walking through the forest and my fight flight kicks in and my body decides I can outrun a snake, so I run. It's not like that. I think we can stay in the blue zone where we're actively alert and we're using fear as information to respond instead of having to react. When I'm in fight flight mode or freeze mode, I'm reacting. My body is simply going to choose the thing that it knows it can do. And if it's a jaguar, my body is going to say, nope, you can't fight a jaguar and you can't run from a jaguar, so you need to freeze. Or with a snake, it's going to outrun it. With a mouse, I might choose to catch it, right? Because I could probably fight the mouse. So my body knows those things, but I would like to suggest that when we're in these COVID times and quarantine days, I like to call them, use the fear as information, get data, and then respond to that with thought out, kind of managed behaviors. So those include things like get educated about what COVID is. It isn't just a cough. You need to wash your hands. That would be a response. Staying at home would be a good response. There are things that we want to do. If you feel like you are sick, look up your symptoms, call your doctor. These are all responses that don't have to kick us into that fight flight mode where it's not overwhelming our capacity to cope. One of the reasons that I think this is so important, because I have 4 kids, ages 4, 7, 14, and 17, and I'm a parent, and we work with kids and youth. If I am not regulating my own emotions about my fear or my anxiety during this time of my livelihood, not just our lives, I am more likely to respond in a stressed out way to my kids. So my colleague was telling me a story. She was at Target the other day and she heard the mom mumbling as she had this cart full of stuff that they needed, groceries and other items. And mom was kind of just throwing things in saying, this is so dumb. Now we don't even get to go to Disney World. And her kid was there and he did something. He really didn't do anything wrong. He was being a kid and she was really snippy with him. But she was upset probably with her own disappointment from not being able to go on her vacation. That was well deserved, I'm sure, like most of us deserve a vacation about now, and we're all going a little batty having to be cooped up inside. But her emotion and her inability to regulate in that moment then was put on her child. Kids take their cues from us. So if we are regulated and we respond instead of react, if we take an extra moment before we snip back at our kids and go, okay, what is it I'm trying to teach in this moment? Oh yeah, respect. Okay, let's have a redo. I'm going to give you one chance to redo that with a different vocal tone. Otherwise, you can go sit on the cool down couch. or I will take your phone for 10 minutes to get their attention. It allows for you to respond to them in a way that parents in disciplines, which is to teach, rather than respond out of stress. We are all much more likely to respond out of stress during times when we feel like our life or our livelihoods are on the line. I get it. And I empathize with that. And we are resilient. We are humans. We can work through this. And so I just wanted to put that out there to encourage you as parents to do things that take care of yourself, like a virtual coffee date with a friend. You may actually really benefit from that. Like, I don't know, maybe taking a bath for yourself or cleaning something. Organizing makes me feel better. I don't know why. But being able to tag in and tag out with another adult so that you can be the best you can be. I've heard parents say things like, I'm going to take one kid on a date. We're going to go through a drive-through. Bring your sanitizer, wipe off all of the cartons, that kind of thing. And you're giving them one-on-one time. Amy McCready, I love her. She uses positive parenting solutions, and she's been on the Today Show, but she uses very good psychology. She suggests spending 10 minutes twice a day with all of your kids, just one-on-one, doing something they want to do, because it meets their two core needs. The first is to feel loved and accepted for who they are. No matter what they do, they're going to be loved and accepted, and to feel significant and important, like they matter in this world. And that's really important to communicate to them, especially in these times. And what a great opportunity we may actually have on our hands here to have so much family time. Let's make the most of it. Make it purposeful. Sit down, have family game night. Some of the studies really support that if you're teaching emotional things, emotional regulation to your kids, they will be able to make up the academics lickety-splickety. And that's actually more important for being a successful adult and being an intelligent adult than it is to actually learn academia. Now, don't get me wrong, academia is very important, but my specialty is emotional intelligence for children and how to help family dynamics. So how well your kids adapt and behave will depend on how you react and how you respond, as said by Amy McCready. You're looking at her article on Mind, Body, Soul Time and what to do when you're spending one-on-one time with your kids and some of the parameters around that. You can check her out at Positive Parenting Solutions. What kind of energy are you putting out there for your kids? How are your kids perceiving you? If they're perceiving you as calm and in charge, they are going to feel safer and their anxiety is going to go down, and they are going to be able to behave and regulate their emotions much better. It's actually a great opportunity to teach resiliency and build that in our kids. Look for opportunities in this crazy situation and what the situation can offer us. Be strategic. Keep routines. Don't let them go to bed at midnight and then expect them the next day to behave well. Keeping routines and all of the rituals that you have as families is actually very important, even critical for keeping their emotional regulation. So parents, let's stay calm and in charge during these unprecedented times for our kids and not let our anxiety and fear be a driving force. When we stay in the blue zone, we help our kids stay in the blue zone, which is calm, and it brings better behavior and more genuine connection between them and yourself. And it also sets them up for healthier peer relationships. So it's an interesting time. My hope is that at the end of this, we will learn how important genuine connections are and seek those out. And I know it's hard to be virtual right now. I'm missing it. I know you guys are missing in-person interactions, but I just wanted to put that out there about fear and to encourage everyone to not let it overwhelm your capacity to cope, that it's a pretty normal response to an abnormal situation. And if you have any other questions, feel free, give us a call. We're at lifepointtherapy.com or 224-208-5228. We're doing virtual sessions. We're offering some groups potentially for anxiety, some 30-minute sessions that just sort of kind of treat you real quick and give you a place to chat about your anxiety and things that are going on for you and your family. So reach out. I'm also going to put some resources up, including the handout that I use for folks. And just acknowledge your feeling and then figure out what you want to do with it. But hopefully this finds you well, and take care. Give us a call if you need anything. Bye now.